Alright guys, in today's video, pretty exciting. I've got JR from JRC Visa Consultants, and I'm excited because I use them. I go to JRC and I do my visa extensions because I don't always like to, I want to get in and get out. I stay kind of busy, and you guys just fill out the form for you and you go and take care of the extension for me. And we were talking earlier, as you know, and my viewers know, I'll be getting married this year.
Wow.
And
Congratulations.
thank you. And I'll be using your visa service for that as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. You have, I was under the impressions you had 3 locations, but you actually have 7 offices.
Yes.
Where are your 7 offices?
Yeah. Before I will answer that, thank you, Gio, for having me in your channel and with the firm.
You're welcome.
I do appreciate that. It's been my honor and privilege.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, going back to the question, we do have 7 offices as of the moment.
Okay.
Strategically located all over the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
So our main office is in the center of the Philippines, that is in Cebu City.
Mm-hmm.
We have also down Cebu Island, southern part, that would be in Malboal.
Okay.
Down south in Mindanao, we have an office in Davao City.
Okay.
And also for Dumaguete, we do have.
Mm-hmm.
We do have in Panglao Island, Bohol.
Uh-huh.
We do have in Angeles, Pampanga.
Okay.
And we do have in Metro Manila, that's located in Parañaque. It's in Asiana. That's near in the Department of Foreign Affairs.
Okay.
So,
excellent. Now people could contact you through your Facebook page.
yes, they can.
And do you have a website as well?
Yes, we do have also.
What's the website?
That would be www.jrc.consultancy.com
Got it.
or jrcconsultancy.com.
Perfect. So we'll link that down below as well. Now, what kind of services do you have? Is visa extensions and visas? Is there anything else that you cover, or that's the main thing?
Yeah, the main thing is we are actually starting to focus first on the visa and immigration services.
Sure.
So the firm was established way back 2017.
Uh-huh.
And from there we grew for multiple offices with the objective of bringing the convenience to our foreign friends,
Mm-hmm.
so that they can actually go to the nearest office from them.
Sure.
So basically our firm is accredited with the Bureau of Immigration.
Okay.
So we are actually accredited with them to transact on
Mm-hmm.
visa and immigration matters, such as extensions, exit clearance,
Mm-hmm.
application of the 13A probationary, permanent, 9G working visa,
Yep.
and all other visas that is available from the Bureau of Immigration itself. Now, apart from the visa and immigration services, also we are also accredited with the Philippine Retirement Authority. So
Okay.
that is the government office that is actually spearheading the retirement visa applications.
Okay.
So they are actually designated by the Department of Tourism
Uh-huh.
to attract or encourage foreign nationals to retire and relocate here in the Philippines.
Okay.
Now, apart from that, with the firm, by profession, I'm also a licensed real estate broker and appraiser.
Oh, wow.
Not so much with the appraiser side, but we can also assist you on the real estate matters. We're actually taking it already in place, and hopefully we'll have it full blast in the next few months.
Oh, okay. So you're expanding out on
Yes.
on services, right?
Yeah. Basically, the services that we have right now are focusing mainly on what are the basic needs of a foreigner
Mm-hmm.
going into the Philippines. I mean, there are a lot,
Right.
but number one, you should take good care of your visa.
Sure.
Been traveling for quite some time already, especially earlier this year,
Right.
and the feeling of being a foreigner in a different area or a foreign land
Yes.
can give you goosebumps.
Yeah.
You don't like to be in trouble.
Right.
Like handing over your passport to someone might be okay up to some extent,
Sure.
but at the end of the day, seeing the office, seeing their accreditations,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing what are their credentials can be your assurance
Mhm.
that you're really in good hands. We may not please everyone
Right.
based on the circumstances,
Sure.
because our services would not depend on us alone. there are a lot of factors such as the cooperation of our clients. So during the engagements, we're collecting information, we're collecting documents, and that we need the cooperation of our clients.
Right.
Number two, there are also regulations from the different government offices that we need to comply.
Sure.
So what we really actually wanted to give you is the peace of mind, the convenience, and assurance that we are really here to help you out.
Yes. Yeah, I know. First time I went in the office and you drop off your passport. It really was the same as immigration. You have to leave your passport.
True.
So I've gotten very comfortable just dropping off my passport with you guys. I've been using you for several years now. So
thank you so much for that.
It's
really our honor that we actually hear it from you guys, like especially you, that you have actually given the trust, because that is very important here in the Philippines.
Yeah, it's great because they text me and they say, hey, you can come pick up your passport.
That's nice.
So it's good stuff. Now, I would say the majority of people, when they first come out here, they come out on tourist visas because they're not sure what they want to do yet. And is there anything somebody can do before they've even come out to the Philippines? Let's say they visited and they know they want to retire here. Is there any part of the process they can do beforehand?
Yes, there are a lot, especially the requirements that needs to be complied from their country of origin.
Okay.
Which actually speaks to the retirement visa.
Okay.
Such as the police clearance of no criminal record from their country of origin. That's number one.
Okay.
Doing the remittance, the inward remittance, for them to comply with the visa deposit requirement.
Okay.
Because that entails a bank-to-bank transaction from your bank outside the country, from the U.S.
Okay.
To be specific. Because there are banks in the U.S. that would require your personal presence.
Oh, I see.
For those who can do it online, they can do it here.
Sure.
But those are the major documents that they need to actually bring with them and have that one apostilled or authenticated. That will actually take a lot of stress from the applicant itself.
So a lot of people do all the stuff requirements here, but there's a lot more stress to it. It's a lot more work. So it's better if you start in your home country.
Yes.
Okay.
It depends on how they maneuver it. Like for example, if you're 70 years old and above, you're already exempted with a police clearance from your country of origin. That is something that your actually subscriber can actually take note.
Oh.
For the retirement visa, if you're that age, you will be exempted from that, and then you will just be required to get the NBI clearance, which is a nationwide search in the Philippine setup.
Okay.
Now, those are minor things, but it can actually put a lot of stress during the application process. Now, if you're here and you're 70, you're not actually that techie enough. You're the person that goes to the bank and hey, do this remittance to this account in the Philippines. That might be something that you need to take a look at.
Okay, that's good information to know. Now, I know also there's a lot of ex-military guys who like to come here and retire. Maybe a lot of them are just familiar. Maybe they spent time in the military in the Philippines.
Yes.
Now, there's I think a misconception. A lot of people think that you have to be a retired military, but that's not the case, right? You could just have served and have an honorable discharge. And you need the form, the DD 214.
Correct.
Does that have to be notarized or anything like that, or is it just a copy? Or
okay, for the requirement per se, any foreign document that will be presented to any government office in the Philippines should be authenticated.
Okay.
Before the authentication process is what we call red ribbon.
Okay.
So let's just say, for example, you. If you're living probably somewhere in California, and then you need to take a look at where is the Philippine embassy nearest you, and that may be a hassle for you or inconvenient. You will not go to work for a day or two, so that you just go to the Philippine embassy. But now they actually make it more simpler. There's what we call Apostle Hog Convention.
Okay.
This is a group of countries that agreed to make the authentication process simple. And that process is what we call apostille or apostillization. Okay. So any private firm apart from the Philippine embassy can do that from the US, and then they can actually and then that particular document will now be submitted to the Philippines, and it's deemed acceptable already.
Okay. Excellent. Now, back to the military. I think a lot of people think that it's only American ex-military, but it's actually other
Yes.
countries as well. Is there certain countries that are not allowed? I mean, is it just or is it open to almost any country?
Okay. There's no such as of today. There's no such thing as a detailed list on that particular category,
Okay.
because that particular category will just require you for the visa deposit for 1,500
Right.
instead of putting in 10 or 20 grand.
Right.
And then it will actually have you an one-time application fee of 1,400
Okay.
instead of you paying 1,760.
Right.
And doing the renewal of your ID on a yearly basis, you're only required to put $10 for the renewal of the ID, not the visa.
Right.
Because there are a lot of our clients like, JR,
Sure.
I'm renewing my visa. Oops, nope, you're just renewing your ID.
Yes.
Because your visa is applied once and it's
Uh-huh.
actually lifetime already.
Okay.
So going back to the $10, the regular category will actually require you to have 360 US. So that's really a good deal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. So that is why the context of it is open initially primarily on the US military servicemen, because this was actually done, or the office was actually being conceptualized or being formed during 1984.
Okay. Well, the American military was
Yes.
still here.
The ties of the Philippines is really good and the US
Sure.
up until now.
Right.
So that's the first preference, but it does
Right.
not mean that it will end there.
Okay.
Okay, it is still open to other countries that had good diplomatic relationship with the Philippines.
For example, Canada,
Yes.
or maybe Australia.
Australia's one. We have an experience with Australia.
Uh-huh.
We have also an experience with UK, and we don't have yet Canada, but it's open to
Sure.
to other countries or nationalities.
Okay. That's good information.
What your subscribers can do if they're really like, JR, don't have the DD to 14. Of course, it's unique with the US military.
The U.S., yeah.
Any proof that you have served the US military and you have discharged properly,
Uh-huh.
we can actually use that, and we can, before applying for the visa, we can actually ask for a free qualification if you qualify for that certain category.
Okay. So you don't have to be retired.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the 20 years, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the U.S.
Yes.
But they can come to your office and see if they pre-qualify.
Yes.
If they don't meet the U.S.
Yes, true.
Okay.
So we will be sending to the retirement office an inquiry, attaching the initial personal information of the applicant, and the proof of the U.S. military, and other requirements such as the pension and police clearance with no criminal record.
Okay.
And then if they said it's a go, then we will actually take the next step to prepare your paperwork and have it submitted for you to have the retirement visa through the expanded category of E-Courtesy.
Right. Now we had mentioned earlier that if you're going to get married in the Philippines, you still think it's a better option to have the retirement visa, because that can't be canceled. For example, if you and your spouse separated, she could cancel the visa, right? Or you'd be required to.
Okay. Going into the other visa type, which is a visa that is directly issued by the Bureau of Immigration. One common visa, or one of the most popular visa right now, is the 13A.
Right.
Otherwise, it's also called spousal visa. We're speaking now for an American,
Right.
so married to a Filipino citizen. Now, the context right now of that spousal visa is coterminous to the marriage contract. So if the marriage is dissolved, or you agree to be separated,
Right.
as per immigration policy or rules and regulation, that particular foreigner will be required to downgrade or cancel back to tourist that particular spousal visa and back to tourist, because the marriage is dissolved.
Okay.
There are clients of ours that actually tell us, JR, it's unfair. Unfortunately, that is the regulation as of to date,
Sure.
because they mentioned in the US, if your other half is actually especially passed away, they can retain their spousal visa.
Okay. So here, even if your spouse passes away, it doesn't matter. You're still downgraded.
Yes, you are required.
Still
Otherwise,
Uh-huh.
if you actually downgrade it after the years that your Filipino spouse had passed away,
Uh-huh.
the immigration will actually impose penalty on you starting on the date that you're required to do so.
Oh, okay.
So that is something that they need to look at.
Sure.
I mean, probably this is just for the information purposes, but that is the regulation of the Bureau of Immigration.
Sure.
There might be other ways that there might be subscribers of yours. Oh, I've been in this and that.
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of foreigners. It's no need to do that and that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
hey, our intention is really to put you on a safe side.
Gotcha.
Like a year overstay and 1 year, 1 day overstay is still an overstay.
That's right. Yeah.
Regardless of it's 365 or 1 day, you're still overstaying.
And just to clarify, on back to tourists, most guys come here on tourist visas. 3 years is the limit, and then you have to leave and come back. I know you discussed that on Paul's channel. And then over 6 months, you're required to do an exit clearance, which your office can help with,
Yes.
especially like in places like Dumaguete where they don't do an exit clearance,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Immigration.
Yeah.
So, how long would it take to do an exit clearance?
Technically, including the logistics, sending your documents from Dumaguete to Cebu, and we process it in Cebu, it would take normally at least 1 or 2 weeks. Safe, that's safe. Because we need also to consider not just the actual processing time, but also the logistics itself.
Sure.
Okay, that's safe. That's on or before 2 weeks.
And if you're in Cebu, then
Less than a week, that's done.
Less than a week. Okay.
Because right now, it has always been our objective really to make it easier. Because if that will actually be processed or that can be processed in Manila faster, we always give options to our clients. Okay.
Sure.
Like for example, let's talk about 13A again. 13A in Cebu can be accepted, but they're not the rightful office or the rightful branch that can approve the visa.
Okay.
They can actually screen out your visa if you qualify, and then after they actually evaluate that, if it merits for the approval, they forward that to the main office in Manila.
Okay.
So we actually give an option to our clients. Okay, this is the X amount of time that will be used for the entire completion of your visa approval. From the visa approval, implementation of your approved visa, and also the issuance of your ACRI card. And then that can also be done directly in Manila. The downside is, it's either which one would you choose? You would rather go to Cebu District Office for the capturing or the biometrics, putting your data on their immigration system,
Right.
or you are also open to go to Manila, but it saves time. 1 to 2 months difference.
Gotcha. So that's another advantage also to using your service. So with the different visas, the military, I know, I think there's, with the military it's 1,500 deposit, and then you have the 10,000 and then 20,000. I think is the max one. Now, what would happen if you, as an expat, after 5 years, said, you know what, maybe the Philippines is really not the best fit for me. I'm going to go back to my home country, or I'm going to go to Thailand. What happens with that money? Can you get that back, or is a percentage kept? Or?
Definitely, the retirement office will return the money
Okay.
to the for the visa holder
Okay.
plus interest, because they're gonna put that one on the time deposit. But guys, don't expect too much on the interest. It's
Right.
less than it will vary from bank to bank, but it's less than probably 0.25%.
You might be able to buy a coffee at the end of it.
That's your reward after having your money set aside.
Right,
But you
right.
can also take a look at that as your for savings.
Sure. Yeah.
In either way, you have money being set aside that you cannot touch it.
Any idea how long it would take, or it could vary?
By experience, that will actually come between 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
The process is, the first step is they need to cancel the visa. So from the retirement office, then forwarded to the immigration in Manila. That will take time. And the next step to that, after it will be canceled, then they will be coordinating now. The retirement office will now be coordinating to the bank. to facilitate the transfer of your chosen account based on your cancellation paperwork.
Okay.
That in effect, we can also help you with that. If you're already in the US and you decide, JR, I'm not coming back, I'm sick.
Okay.
That's also doable.
Sure.
We will be sending you all the paperwork, sign it, have it apostilled, give along with the documents. You also need to send your passport with a visa and your ID. We can actually represent you.
Okay.
That. And if you're here, you can also do that here.
Okay. Very good. Back to the tourist visa. Another confusion I think is the extensions. You know, like when I first get here, they get 30 days, and I think there's a lot of confusion on how I'll extend 6 months immediately, but what's the schedule of what are you able to extend to when you first arrive?
Okay. Let's put it in a way that the particular foreigner who arrives in the Philippines is an American.
Okay.
Under the classification of non-visa required nationality under EO 408.
Okay.
Now, upon entry, you're given 30 days.
30 days, yeah.
And then you are allowed to extend that up until 36 months. Okay. Your first extension should be before 30 days. Otherwise, you'll be overstayed.
Right.
So the first extension, as per immigration policy or guidelines, it's only 29 days. No more other option.
Okay.
On the second extension, after the 29 days, you have the option right now to do it 1 month, 2 months, and 6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Let me rephrase it, 1 or 2 or 6.
Okay.
And normally, I think it would be also good to mention that on the second extension, the immigration will require you to have the ACRI card.
Right.
They will require you to pay. And then the issuance of the art card will be around 1 to 2 months after you have paid. So it's not automatically. Why? Let's just say, for example, you pay in Dumaguete or Cebu. That will be forwarded to Manila. They're not issuing the ACRI card, only Manila office.
Oh, okay.
So that's the reason why.
And that's good for 1 year.
That's good for 1 year.
So, for example, if I
know your question.
This is how good he is. So if I leave and I come back, the ACR card is still good. That doesn't expire.
Yes.
But your visa will start all over again, the tourist visa.
Yes. That is a good point. I think that's also basing on experience because
Right.
As a foreigner, when you come to the Philippines, you're under TVV. That's temporary visitors visa, or otherwise called tourist visa commonly. So you have, that's the reason why on your second extension you have the option to date 1 month or 2 months or 6 months, depending on your planned stay in the Philippines.
Sure.
So any excess will be fully used or fully utilized, and then once you come back to zero. No more carryover.
No more. It just starts over.
Yeah.
So the only thing that carries over is just your ACR card, which is good to that expiration.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Now, just briefly, for a while there was a bunch of talk about, it's going to be 59 days upon arrival and changing the exit clearance, but none of that has been passed or anything yet. So it's still just who knows if it ever happens, right? So for now, the original rules, those are still in place.
So the existing rules are still in effect.
Still in effect.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk with one of our attorneys because we have 2 attorneys in the firm. I asked him about how would a particular bill be passed into a law. So it's still a very long process, and we're here actually to give light on that. And if there will be updates, then we will be making sure that our foreign friends will be pretty informed about that, because right now it's probably passed in the lower house and the upper house, but still with a bicameral deliberation, and there might be changes along the way.
Sure.
So who knows? That bill is not, once approved, does not mean that it cannot be amended. So there will be a final bill, and that final draft will now become forwarded to the executive department, which is the office of the president, and then there are still guidelines and processes, and once signed, it is not that in effect yet, because it still need to have the implementing rules and regulations.
Right, and it still could be vetoed where they
Yes,
don't.
yeah.
I think it's very similar to American
Yeah.
government. So if that's the case, who knows? Right?
Yeah. So don't worry, guys. Whatever is as is right now,
That's the way.
get
it
that.
is.
Take advantage of that privilege because
Yes.
in as much as we want to welcome foreign friends to be here in the Philippines as well.
Right. Well, I think we covered a lot of things today, and we got a little bit more in depth on some of the topics.
Yes.
So I appreciate it.
Mhm.
And guys, if you're out here, trust me, it's so much easier to go and use JRC. It's just things run smoother, and if you have questions, it just helps a lot. So I appreciate you coming out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely,
Gio.
thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Take care.
I know you're on a roll, sweet honey. Let's take it real soon.